One of the things that I always think of when I think of Boston is the boats that are moored up along the side of the haven. These are fishing boats. Now, today they are steel-hulled fishing boats. Before that, they would have been wooden-hulled boats with diesel or steam engines called drifters. They were starting to be built around about the turn of the 20th century and carried on until the 1960s. Now, before that, you had a sail version of the same boat called a herring drifter. And these are obviously fishing vessels, very stable, very useful. And that was a refinement of a previous boat, which was broader, heavier built, and known as a herring lugger. The herring lugger was a change in style from a previous boat called a herring bus. Now, the difference in them is that the herring bus had a square-rigged sail, which is much harder to use in tidal waters. The herring bus is probably the most common fishing vessel of the post-medieval period, and that's the period from around about 1500 to the second half of the 18th century. Prior to that, you had a medieval fishing boat built in a very similar way, but with an open structure rather than having a flat deck across the top. And this was known as the Nordic fishing boat. And from the name you can guess that it has origins in Scandinavia. In fact, it is derived from the Viking longboat. Now, the Vikings came to Boston in the 10th century, and that's about 1,000 years ago. So we have, from that time, an unbroken line of heritage. 1,000 years of fishing boats, herring buses, herring luggers, herring drifters, that comes right up to the 20th century, and is today carried on through the modern vessels. And that's a pretty remarkable piece of history, and it's something that I think is well worth celebrating.